I appreciate the senior senator from Florida and the grief that he represents through his state coming to the floor and speaking about the lives that were lost and the clarion call for us to act. I come to the floor today because 2 weeks ago, a weapon of mass murder was once again used to commit mass murder in an American school. And once again, our hearts are heavy with a grief that has become too routine. And once again, the gun lobby says that we are powerless to do anything about it. But this time feels different. That's because the students of Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School have started a movement to turn once again into never again. Unfortunately, too many of my colleagues act as if mass shootings are inevitable, when in reality, they are preventable. And the American people are sick and tired of it. That's why they've been so inspired by these students from Parkland. I saw it with my own eyes last Sunday. A few of the Stoneman Douglas survivors came to visit New Jersey, and my constituents came out in droves to support them. Together with the Jewish Federation of Greater Metro West and Moms Demand Action, we rallied well over 2,000 people in support of their Never Again movement. Now, what's remarkably refreshing about these students is that they're not yet jaded by the ways of Washington. They have spent their lives practicing active shooter drills. They've grown up being told that mass shootings are just a fact of life. But they know that they deserve better. After being thrust into a tragedy, they have turned their mourning into a movement. By speaking out, the students of Parkland have pricked the conscience of this country, and the American people are answering their call to action. We see at rallies across the country calling for tougher, smarter, common-sense gun safety laws. We see it in students across America organizing the March for Our Lives. And we see it in corporate America. Already, companies like United Airlines have parted ways with the NRA, and retailers like Dick's Sporting Goods have announced they'll take AR-15s off their shelves and stop selling guns to teenagers. As Americans take action, the question is whether Congress will do the same. Far too many of my colleagues still fear a backlash from the NRA. That's why after Las Vegas, they refused to ban the bump stocks that make mass shootings more deadly. That's why after Sandy Hook, they refused to pass tougher background checks. That's why after Orlando, they refused to even consider my own bill to ban the sale of high-capacity magazines. High-capacity magazines are designed for one thing and one thing only: high-capacity killing. They are the grim hallmark of mass shootings in America, linking Parkland to Newtown and Las Vegas to San Bernardino and Aurora to Orlando. Certainly, I've been encouraged to hear some of my colleagues say they may consider supporting limits on magazine sizes now. Now, I have the legislation here that I introduced months ago to do just that. The Keep America Safe Act is narrowly focused. It doesn't infringe on anyone's right to bear arms, and I challenge all of my colleagues to sign on. In my view, we, however, must do more than ban high-capacity magazines. I, for one, voted for the assault weapons ban of 1994 when I was in the House of Representatives, and I'm a co-sponsor of the bill to reinstate it today. These weapons have no place in civilian society. They are not designed for self-defense. They are modeled after weapons our soldiers use on the battlefield. But if we're going to get anywhere, we must stop letting the NRA set the agenda here in Washington. It's amazing to me that some of my colleagues are effectively holding gun safety legislation hostage until they can pass their NRA-backed concealed carry bill. Now, I've spent a lot of time hearing from my colleagues, particularly on the other side of the aisle, talk about state rights. State rights. Well, apparently New Jersey's right to enforce our own gun law doesn't count when it comes to states' rights. Our state has some of the toughest gun laws in the country, and it's no coincidence that we have the 5th lowest rate of gun deaths in the nation. We want to keep it that way. But this bill, hot off the NRA's wish list, would let concealed carry permit holders from states with looser standards bring their weapons to New Jersey. Look, at the end of the day, the NRA has 5 or 6 million members. We're a nation of 320+ million people. And while millions of responsible gun owners believe in the Second Amendment, poll after poll tells us they also believe in universal background checks and common sense gun laws. It's time we call out those who spout the same old NRA talking points, such as guns don't kill people, people kill people. Well, that's why we don't run background checks on guns. We run them on people. The NRA would have us believe that all we need to do is to have comprehensive background checks, when in reality what we need are universal background checks. This means requiring background checks for all private sales and transfers and online sales on the internet. Why should you be able to buy with the click of a mouse a significant weapon without ever going through a background check? Likewise, they say it's time for teachers to be armed and our schools to be, quote unquote, hardened. Well, I haven't met many teachers who want to be charged with assessing threats and taking lives in front of their own students. And let's be serious, arming teachers wouldn't stop the next Las Vegas. Only we can do that by passing sensible, reasonable gun safety measures that limit the sale of deadly weapons and keep guns out of the wrong hands. After running for their lives on February 14th, the students of Stoneman Douglas will march for their lives on March 24th. It's inspiring to see that despite all the dysfunction in Washington, young Americans still believe in their power to make change. How tragic would it be if we in Congress proved them wrong and once again let business as usual in Washington prevent us from taking action to save lives? For my part, that's not going to happen. With that, Mr. President, I yield the floor.
Senator from New Jersey.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the remarks of my senior senator from New Jersey, his passion, his commitment to this issue, not just now, not just after this mass shooting, but he has been consistently fighting for gun safety, common sense gun safety for years, and I'm grateful for his leadership as my senior senator. It's now been 2 weeks since a gunman took the lives of 17 children, teachers, and school administrators in Parkland, Florida. In the days and weeks since, we've seen young